topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Dallas-Fort Worth. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, our 16th year of doing the Ask the Expert show. Hey, we're so glad to have you. So I do kind of little open monologue before each show, but this show, this expert, my monologue is always longer because, first of all, I have gone through sleep apnea. I have a CPAP machine, not embarrassed about it. I know what people with snoring problems go through, but I've actually watched this expert start up his business. Oh my God. Well, I've been doing the show for 16 years, and I have seen him grow his practice, Dr. Kent Smith, to where I think it's 7 or 8 locations. It is amazing. I tried to get this doctor for years and we could never connect. And I was so happy the day that we got the okay to do the show because, first of all, when you have an expert and you promote them as an expert, you really have to believe they are the expert. And Dr. Smith is without a doubt. When it comes to sleep apnea, there is no one any better. Good morning, Dr. Smith.
Good morning. Glad to be here again, Steve-O.
I'm sorry about the long monologue, but your show is so important because I know what people go through who suffer with sleep apnea, snoring problems. I know about the relationships that it hurts. And I've watched you grow your practice. It's called Star Sleep and Wellness. How many locations do you have now, Dr. Smith?
Well, we just opened in North Carolina, so that's our 8th.
Right.
Everything else has been in the Dallas and Houston now area. But North Carolina, we're going to be opening Florida before the end of the year.
Where are you going in Florida?
We're going to the Tampa Bay area initially.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Great area. And didn't you just open up in Mansfield?
Well, yeah, we're open in Mansfield. We've been open there for a little bit, and McKinney was relatively recent. But I just got a text yesterday morning from a friend in California that said, "Hey, there's a Saudi prince that asked who was the best sleep dentist to go see in the United States," and she said he's coming to see you. So,
oh my gosh! What a compliment! Tell people about your practice, Dr. Smith.
Yeah, we treat all sleep disorders. It didn't start out that way. It just started out treating snoring and some sleep apnea. But now we have 3 boarded sleep physicians, and we've got 8 nurse practitioners and an RSPGT. Which are, these are people that know all about sleep. They've been trained in all phases of sleep. We treat insomnia in addition to snoring and sleep apnea. Just about any sleep problem you have, sleepwalking, sleep talking. There's almost 100 sleep disorders, but sleep apnea is the most common thing that we treat because that's what people know about, and then it's also more prevalent than anything. So a lot of people have it.
And the ones that kind of know it are afraid to go in to find out that they have it. That's how I was. Is like, hey, my friends tell me I snore, so but I'll just live with it. But I got to tell you, it changed my life. No matter what negative things you hear about the CPAP machine, I got to tell you, it is so much better than going through what I went through before the CPAP machine. So that's why I really appreciate your practice, Dr. Smith. I got to tell you, most shows we really have to prep before the show. With your show, because we start promoting it 2 or 3 days out, with your show, we get so many questions that I don't have to even worry about what we're going to talk about. We've got enough questions, and I know you love answering them. So if you don't mind, let's get to everybody's questions.
You bet.
Um, let's go to Rex in Garland. And I want to tell everybody we so appreciate you sending your question in to write in so that we repeat Dr. Smith's show twice a month. And you can go to iHeart or Spotify, or now I understand Spreaker. You can go there and listen to all the shows. But let me start off with Rex and Garland. What is your preference, CPAP or oral appliance, and why?
Yeah, I mean, there's not one that's necessarily, they all have or both of them have pros and cons. So CPAP is considered the gold standard for severe apnea. And we're going to try to get everybody to try CPAP at least first if you have severe apnea. Now, it's not as easy to get used to. Luckily, Steve-O, you got used to yours pretty quickly and noticed, because honestly, if you stick with it and you see the results of it, you understand how amazing you feel when you wear it. And then
Yes.
you are determined to continue to wear it every night. Some people don't stick with it very long. And, statistically, only about 50% of people end up actually using their CPAP machine for various reasons. So then, oral devices are easier to wear, they're easier to transport. There's no moving parts to it. You don't have to replace anything. You can travel to, I was just in Little Cayman diving last week, and I took
Ah,
my oral device with me. It would be much more difficult to take a CPAP machine. I like to travel light. You can
right.
do it, it's just more difficult. So, and an oral device for mild and moderate apnea is just as effective as a CPAP machine is. So, for mild and moderate cases, we typically suggest trying an oral appliance first because we know people are more likely to wear it. And then, if you're severe, an oral appliance can help. It can be effective. In fact, we're doing a study right now with a company called ProSomnus out of California. They're having us do they're calling it the severe study because we're using oral
Mhm.
devices on only severe patients for this study. And I'll have more results after this study is published. But we really want patients to be able to use any therapy that they want. So if they come in, even if they have mild apnea, if they want to wear a CPAP machine, fantastic. We'll give them a CPAP machine. If they have severe apnea and they just say, no way, I've got claustrophobia, I can't wear anything on my face during the night, I just can't do it. Okay, we'll try an oral device. And then there's also surgeries, but you should try an oral device or a CPAP or both before you ever have surgery, in our opinion.
I got to tell you a funny thing that happened. I was in the hospital a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "Should I bring my CPAP machine?" And they said, "No, we have them here." I got to tell you, Dr. Smith, it looked like it was from the 50s. It was loud. I mean, I don't even hear my machine at all. It
Right.
was loud. It was the worst experience, and I was shocked that a major hospital would have a CPAP machine like that, but they did. Um, I wanted here's a gentleman, Richard, who was a patient of yours in Frisco, and he said, "I saw where you were going to be on today, Your staff was wonderful. You helped my situation. One of the things that I forgot to ask, or they probably told me, which I want to ask now, is it important to fill the humidifier?
Well, you certainly can. Everybody's different. Some people like to have a humidifier and some don't. I think in the majority of people do prefer a humidifier because when you have room air, and keep in mind that these machines don't use oxygen. A lot of people think that the CPAP provides oxygen. It doesn't. It provides room air. So it brings room air in. If you have a humidifier, it humidifies it so it's not too dry.
Mm,
What we don't want is for you to get a really dry oral cavity and nose, and you end up, it can get bloody and crusty, and you just don't need any of that. So try the humidifier first, filling it with usually distilled water. It's not 100% you have to use it, but it'll last longer if you use distilled water. So yes, I feel it is important to fill the humidifier at least as a test to see if you like it. But there are levels on the humidifier too. You can change how much humidity you have. So, and if you need help with that, obviously contact our office.
did they get? I know there was a problem with the Philips CPAP. Is it
Yeah.
Philips? Did that
Philips
get
is
clear?
Yeah, the Philips Respironics is now out of the business. They about
Oh,
4 or 5 years ago, they recalled all the machines back from the last 17 years because a piece of the foam broke loose and was causing lung
ooh.
cancer. And
Wow.
yeah, that's not good. So
Yeah.
they decided, they would replace machines for a while. If you have an old Philips machine and you're listening to this, yeah, they didn't do a good job of communicating with patients to let them know that there was a recall. They had to kind of hear it through the grapevine, and it was really poorly done, in my opinion. But I think they tried to make it, and now ResMed and a few other small players are, and we only use ResMed. We weren't using
That's what I
Respironics anyway.
use.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
it
I
didn't
use.
impact us at all, but it did impact a lot of companies who were just using Respironics. They didn't know what to do.
Um, I talk about this, I think, on every one of your shows because, when the host of the show knows exactly what people are going through with sleep disorders, I got to tell you, by not taking care of the situation when I should have, I found myself falling asleep at the wheel during the day. I found myself falling asleep when somebody was talking to me. That's embarrassing. The most embarrassing thing is I was in a class and, when you fall asleep and you snore, you put both those together and it was the most embarrassing thing. And it was all because I didn't get my sleep apnea treated. But I always think about Dr. Smith when I hear about an auto accident. Did that person have sleep apnea and fell asleep at the wheel? But that's when I really decide I got to go in and get this problem taken care of. I bet you hear stories like that all the time.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stories, not enough time to cover all those stories,
Yeah,
but yeah, just because you're sleepy doesn't necessarily mean you have sleep apnea.
right.
There are some other things that can cause sleepiness, so we don't say that that is a predictor for sleep apnea, but it is one of the signs, as is high blood pressure, diabetes, acid reflux, irritability, quick to temper. Boy, there's so many side effects of sleep apnea that if you have it, it is not difficult to treat. And the studies are so easy now to see. People take their blood pressure taken regularly. They go in and get a mammogram, they get blood work done, and we all sleep 7, 8, 9 hours a night. And you never test to see how healthy it is? Come on.
Yes.
You should have a study done, even if you have no symptoms at all. It would be good to have a sleep study just to see, just like you
Yeah.
have blood work done and get your blood pressure taken just to see.
And you know what? Listen, when I did it, you had to go to a sleep study lab, spend the night there. Now you don't have to do that anymore.
No, there are a few patients that need to do that. Depending on, we always give somebody a home study first, and they're very easy. You just put something on your finger, depending on what kind you have. It might go on your wrist. We have different models. Some have little patches you put on your chest, but regardless, they're easy. And almost every patient can be diagnosed properly with these home studies now. There's a couple that, if there's kind of questions after we do the study, if you've got narcolepsy, for example, if we suspect you have narcolepsy, then you'll need to do an in-lab study. But in general, yeah, these home studies are far superior than what we had 20 years ago when I used my
Yes.
first study. The first one, and unfortunately, the inventor, the guy that actually defined the word sleep apnea, he invented the first home sleep machine. He was a great friend of mine for so many years. He passed away about a month
Wow.
ago. John Rimmers was his name. And it was just, he was a pioneer in the field, and we were very sad that he passed. But boy, did he contribute so much to the industry over the years. And so
Well,
anyway, I don't want to talk about sad stuff now. Let's talk
yeah.
about good sleep.
Here's there's a good letter from Jamie in Arlington. Love your show. I'm just about there with my husband making an appointment with you. I think my husband has sleep apnea. We cannot even sleep together in the same room, which I'm sure Dr. Smith hears about all the time. What do you feel like are the symptoms of sleep apnea, and how do I get him to admit he has a problem? I'm hoping to get him in to see you soon. That's a good one.
Boy, it is difficult. I mean, and I'm male, so I get it. We don't want to
Yeah.
admit that we have any kind of health problem. We want to just power through life. And we think, if somebody can't sleep in my bed, that's their problem, not mine. And, you hear all kinds of things. But I say this, I think I've mentioned this before, but if you can just tell your husband, can you please up your life insurance? Because, it's okay if you die as far as I'm concerned, but I want to make some money off your death. And I am afraid you're going to not wake up someday. So that's not really proper to do. But, it's real. You're much more likely to have
Yes.
sudden cardiac death and die in the middle of the night. It's just so, he just has to care enough about himself. But the studies show that if you sleep with a chronic snorer, on average, you lose an hour and a half of sleep every night. So it
Wow.
negatively impacts that bed partner significantly. And that should be good enough reason. If that bed partner loves the bed partner and respects that bed partner, and I have to say bed partner these days,
Yeah.
it's reality.
Yes.
20 years ago, I said husband and wife, spouse. I
Right,
always
right.
use those words. Now it's bed
Yes.
partner. Yeah. So anyway, that's just every situation is different. Everybody has their personal reasons. But maybe just letting them know he probably either has diabetes or high blood pressure, acid reflux. I mean, there's so many things that could, boy, just any heart condition at all. Daytime sleepiness, which Steve-O just mentioned,
Yes.
And people as they age, they think, well, gosh, I'm just getting older, so I should feel tired. I should feel fatigued. There's no, that's just normal. No, it's
Right.
not normal. You should not. Steve, I'm sure you can say that you are much less fatigued, much less tired. You have more
Oh,
energy now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And you know what? I got to tell you, I the CPAP machine has just kind of become part of me. It's like I don't even think about it when I sleep at night. Um, but I got to tell you, Dr. Smith, it has changed my life so much. just like you said, like just the energy and not falling asleep while I'm talking to somebody, which was so embarrassing. I want to get Kathy in Plano her question in. Um, she said, "How much sleep do we need? What about those who tell us that they only need 4 to 5 hours of sleep, and they've been that way their whole life?" And then we have a president who sleeps 3 or 4 hours. Is there a certain amount of hours we need for sleep?
Well, I think everybody should think in general that 7.5 hours is what you need. Some people need more, some people need less. Females, on average, with the studies, need about 14 minutes more than males, but still, it's important to get that 7.5 hours of sleep. Now, those people that get by on 4 to 5 hours of sleep, that is, it's due to a defective clock gene. There's a defect in that clock gene, which is in every organ of your body. So if you have that, even though the word is defective, it's a good thing for people that don't want to sleep much. You're not less healthy with 4 and 5 hours of sleep. It is legitimate if you have that defective clock gene. If you don't, and you're pretending like you're getting by on 4 to 5 hours of sleep, then it will negatively affect your life. You can just 30 minutes less of sleep creates an increase of 10% body fat over 12 months. You're more
Wow.
likely to gain weight if you don't get your 7.5 hours of sleep. So if all you
Wow.
care about is losing weight or not gaining weight, if that's your main reason for getting sleep, then get sleep. Go to sleep at the same time every night, wake up at the same time every morning, even on weekends, and you'll be the healthiest person you can be.
Wow. I want to get this in. Another question. Do you have a location in Fort Worth? You do, don't you?
Well, we don't yet.
Okay.
No, no, we're opening in Arlington and Fort Worth, hopefully before the end of the year, but we're not there
Mm.
yet. So we're
So what would be
negotiating
the closest? What would be
closest to
the
Fort
closest?
Worth,
Okay.
probably
Yes.
Irving.
Irving. Okay.
It
The
depends if you're in
original.
North or South Fort Worth, West. It depends on where you are. Maybe you're closer to Mansfield, depending on where you are in Fort Worth. Maybe you're closer to, gosh, Denton, depending on where you are. So just not in Fort
Right.
Worth yet.
Okay. It's just so amazing from the first Irving location, Dr.
Yeah.
Smith, and where you are now. Unbelievable. Um, I love doing your show. Is there a phone number that's good for all the locations?
Yeah, yeah. Even if you're in North Carolina, there's the same phone number. 844-409-4657. 844-409-4657. They can get you scheduled in any of our locations.
Where are you at in North Carolina?
Greensboro.
Greensboro. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Dr. Smith is with us live once a month, and we repeat the show twice a month. And then you can also go to iHeart or Spotify to listen to the shows. Dr. Smith, again, I'm so glad we have you on the show. Your show goes by so fast, so easy to do, and I know that we're helping people out there. Thank you so much, Dr. Smith, and we'll see you again next month.
All right. Thank you very much, Steve-O. See you
Okay.
soon.
Thanks,
All
Dr.
right.
Smith. That's Dr. Kent Smith. I got to tell you, I'm in Florida, so he did not have a location here. But if I were in the Dallas Fort Worth area, I definitely would go to him. Absolutely. He is so good when it comes to sleep apnea. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you next month. Thank you, Rebel, for such a great job as always. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.